Welcome to the Game of Thrones podcast, the officially unofficial podcast for Game of Thrones on HBO. I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
And we just watched Season 7, Episode 2, titled Stormborn. What'd you think of it?
Boy, what a fun episode. I thought it was like...
Fun episode?
I've got some minor criticisms about how the last scene could have been more awesome.
Oh, the last scene? Huh. Okay.
But that's it. I actually love this. Seeing all the hints of reunions and... like Danny and John's war council kicking over. Whoa. I'm hearing an echo. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Just seeing all these, John and Danny's war council kind of vetting each other and saying, yeah, this guy's cool. Yeah, he was cool to me. And I just thought that was cool. And then Arya meeting Nymeria. What'd you think, man? It sounds like you don't love it as much as I do.
Maybe not quite, although I have problems with different scenes.
Okay.
It wasn't that the last scene wasn't awesome enough. It was that maybe... It started off with maybe a little too much jetpack for my taste.
Okay.
It was like everything. Like, we're gonna get the Tarleys together, and Cersei's gonna try and form an alliance with them. Jaime's gonna do it. It all seemed to be happening really fast with Jon and his ravens and all that.
They're ravens, man.
Yeah, I guess they fly super fast.
They are faster than a peregrine falcon in dive. They like. Straight line speeds 197 miles an hour easy, and that's with a winter tailwind.
So I had a little bit of a problem there, and then during the Missandei and Grey Worm scene, I was so distracted by the thinking about how is this gonna play out? Like, what the fuck is gonna happen when they get their clothes off?
Cecily the whole time she was like, "How is this gonna work? How is this gonna work?" And then when he started going down side, she goes, "That'll work."
Of course, of course. That's how we should have seen it coming. But yeah, I kind of, and then the rest of it was awesome. I liked it.
Right. I mean, because I'm like, are they going to show us the Kindle?
That's why I was so distracted.
Yeah, I'm like, how is this going to be visualized? Like, and also, like, our culture being what it is, that would be something else to like film yourself unsexed, for like a male performer. I thought that, and all these things unsexed, I was thinking,
like, just with like a green sock on it. Or
yeah.
And just like try to get in that headspace, I guess.
Right. I mean, you're talking. Most male stars that pose like the full Monty, they have a prosthetic penis. Like Mark Wahlberg, prosthetic penis. Hodor, prosthetic penis.
Right.
Because apparently their real penis was not
a foot long and 6 inches.
And that's what that was. I mean, that's I say it's kind of it's a little fucked up.
Yeah, but I thought they both actually did a really, really good job in that scene.
I did too.
Like, you don't have to necessarily show it for him to get in that headspace. He's got to do it, right?
Right.
So he's got to act that way, and I think that was great. And the way Missandei reacted to it and everything, I thought, I don't know, I really thought that scene was good. And although I was very distracted.
And I think Game of Thrones gets a fair share of fairly deserved criticism about how they had the diversity amongst their cast and being insensitive in some storylines, but. I thought it was, interesting, like around Dany's council, you've got like 2 eunuchs, a dwarf, 4 women of all different ages, all different sexual orientations, and there's not like your conventional dude at the table, and they're calling the shots and doing. I'm like, that's
true.
That's actually kind of like real, and they've established all these characters as like badasses in their way. Like Lady Olenna, her fucking credentials, where all of her bodies are. So,
right,
it felt like it was all earned. It's like no explanation, no, like it's just like, oh yes, this feels right.
Yeah.
And I thought that, I just love that.
Yeah, I really, really liked the final scene a lot. I thought Euron is a force to be reckoned with, like both militarily and also just one-on-one.
They really needed to establish him, and they sure did in like a single scene. Not just the ferocity. His boats. Like we were talking about, what is that? We knew that there was something tricky up with that, and it's like a fucking. It's Bowser's Bridge from like any Super Mario Bros. Castle. It's just going to smash you. And
it's like a combination ram and also a bridge to board
and
with.
A hook,
like,
so that the ship can't get away.
Yeah.
But not only was the ferocity to combat, but his maniacal laugh at Theon turning Craven and running was like with all his face lit by fire. It was I don't know. It's something. It was. I've been watching a lot of Twin Peaks lately. I almost would say it's like David Lynchian weirdo Black Lodge kind of shit. His face in that moment as he's just laughing with glee. Great scene.
Yeah, it was great.
However,
Huh.
my only problem with it is like, so you know how this season was amazing. Like I can't really take anything from it except for this. Imagine if they had done a better job establishing the Sand Snakes and Euron.
Yeah, right.
Where this was like something like, oh my god, the fucking Sand Snakes and Yara and Euron and his crazy, oh my god, like the anticipation, there was none of that, and it still worked like gangbusters. So maybe the Double D's are like, well, fuck you, Aaron. Yeah, we pulled it off with by the skin of our teeth, granted, but we pulled up. But I'm just like, man, sometimes I'm like, if they hadn't fucked up the Sand Snakes so bad. This would have been 10 times the scene, and it was already awesome.
Yeah, and I don't think they recovered. Like, anytime they open their mouths, I'm rolling my eyes. And the same
like their
was true of
banter
this
about
episode.
their mom is like, oh my god,
Cringy.
why can't they do better than that?
I don't know. I think it's the accents. I think they're not actual accents, and they're actors who are not good at doing accents.
But they just also, some of that god dialogue is just so goofy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so weird because the rest of the production is so aces, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
The one maybe criticism I have of like the battle is that it kind of comes out of nowhere, which I get it. We're supposed to see it from Yara's point of view. It's supposed to be a surprise, but I think like I'm wondering how the hell he found them. I guess he figured like they'd be going to Casterly Rock.
It does feel, well, I mean, so I don't know. In this world, there could be some trickery or some sorcery involved.
You think so?
Or there could be an intercepted raven. I mean, I don't know. I think you're right. I think I was calling that like, how the hell would he come across this fleet that he should have not known anything about?
Yeah.
Unless there's a spy in the mix or whatever. But I'm having to invent reasons why would he happen upon that at the dead of night with this overwhelming force? Like that's crazy hard to do.
Yeah. It sure is. We just watched Master and Commander, and I'm like,
right,
man, even in broad daylight, this shit's hard to pull off.
Yeah. So I wonder if we're gonna find out that there was some betrayal or there was some kind of black magic kind of stuff.
How about that? Yeah, that scene with Varys, kind of having to prove himself to Dany.
Good.
Both of those actors just crushing it there.
And that's like. Because, there was a lot of, we were talking about all these reunions and what people are going to say when they find out this. And I like that tension is being introduced, but everyone's handling it like fucking adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like fucking adults. Like there's some this and The Walking Dead. They both kind of get, high-minded gobbledygook, but like everyone in The Walking Dead or everybody in Game of Thrones just comes off like an adult. Like Jon and Sansa arguing back and forth and all the lords like, I felt like that was like a totally legit, strong leadership kind of thing. And then passing the torch to Sansa was excellent, and made
total sense. Yep.
All of Dany, and you contrast that with like Cersei, like Jon and Dany's war parties seem like they've got good heads on their shoulders, and you go to Cersei and it's fucking, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit and appeals to emotion and shitting your pants over any kind of logic.
Yep.
And,
and no honor.
There's right.
No loyalty.
Right.
It's all cutthroat over there, and it's going to get them killed.
Yeah.
It's going to lose them their power.
Yeah.
And it'll be glorious to see it happen.
Right.
So here's the one thing I wish that Jon and Sansa would do is maybe have a fucking discussion before these meetings. Like,
that's the thing.
You can't come out of last meeting as Jon and expect to surprise Sansa with this.
Exactly.
And her to keep her mouth shut.
Exactly.
You cannot expect that.
Yeah.
You have to tell her
because,
ahead of time
and
what
they
you
showed
plan
us.
to do
They showed them having the
and
meeting.
have that conversation.
They showed them having the meeting where that conversation should have come up.
Right. But Jon, and I blame Jon for this. Like, if he's not going to tell Sansa what the fuck he plans on doing, and then he can't tell her to stop undermining him.
We can't keep secrets from me. Oh, by the way, his King of the North accent's getting a little. There's a little. It's little Swedish chef there on the edges. Will not leave the. I feel like, and the thing that's dumb about that is if they'd have filmed that back and forth with Jon and Sansa, they would have looked like even more mature, intelligent adults. And then it was going to be controversial pitching it to the lords. They could then have, like, they would have each other's back.
Right.
So the lords would be having the argument, you know, the Sansa side of the argument, and Sansa and Jon are making these united front.
Yep.
I don't know why. Like, why is that more dramatic? I don't feel like it is.
No, I don't. I agree with you.
It just feels like a shit show that Jon has to bail himself out of.
It feels like Jon being stupid.
Yes.
Like, and demanding too much of Sansa.
Yeah.
Not to speak her mind when she's just totally blindsided by these things. You know? So.
Another thing I loved was Arya finding out that Winterfell has been liberated and her beloved half-brother Jon is now king in the north. And she's sitting there meeting with Hot Pie and eating her pies, and they're like veiled conversation about all the different shit that she's done. Was beautiful. And then her deciding to go back to Winterfell, I was like genuinely moved. And then fucking Nymeria and her crew show up, and it was insane.
It just gets even better. Yeah,
it's so good. It's So what was your interpretation of their meeting?
My interpretation is that Nymeria made the same decision Arya would, which is to go her own way.
Right. And, like so you don't think Arya is going to go to Winterfell?
Yeah. I mean, it's entirely possible that Nymeria just changed her mind. Because
I could go either way. I could either be like, because the behind the scenes, the Double D's pointed out that, like, Arya saying that's not you was a mirror of Eddard Stark, telling Arya, "Hey, I'm gonna find you a nice prince, and he's gonna be brave and loyal, and he'll protect you." And she's like, "That's not me."
Yeah.
So I could either go that this is going to inspire Arya, that I am a direwolf off Stark, and I'm going to go to King's Landing, and I'm going to do my own shit, and I'm not going to have the nice family reunion because that's not what I would do. Or I could see her saying that this is the difference between me and the wolf. I'm going to go do right by my family, and I could go either way. That symbolism.
Yeah, it's interesting because Nymeria is surrounded by a pack, right? Of wolves,
right?
So you could see Arya translating that into I need to get back together with Jon and Sansa.
I think that's you just solved it for me. I think that's what
with all this stuff with all the lone wolf.
You're right.
Whatever.
You're right, because that's Nymeria. Nymeria already has her pack. She doesn't want to be taken away from it. So yeah, I think you're right.
She might head up to Winterfell.
I think she should.
I want to see that
because Cersei ain't going nowhere.
That's true.
But letting your brother know that he's got an Arya up his sleeve. That can shift faces and do all that crazy stuff.
Got to get Littlefinger's face somehow.
Yeah,
and that's where Littlefinger is. So keep going, Arya.
How much I so enjoyed the fact that it's now canon that Littlefinger has a multi-generational track record of Stark men beating the shit out of him for stepping to their womenfolk. Like like Brandon Stark, what the fuck are you doing with my betrothed here? I'm going to have to beat the shit. I'm going to beat the shit out. I'm only not killing you because Kat's saying not to, dude.
Right.
And now John's like, I will kill you if you touch my sister. It's great. How many dudes can say that? Two different generation of men beat me up because I hit and inappropriately moved in on women they were close to.
Not a lot. The number's not high.
Yeah. Littlefinger's in rarefied air.
Sure
rarefied air. He's not long. He's not making it out of this season, right?
I seriously doubt it.
He's just increasingly sounding desperate.
He is. And I don't think Jon evacuating Winterfell is going to help him at all. I think Sansa, is not on board with him.
Yeah, but I guess Littlefinger, because here's the thing. I don't know. Like, Littlefinger couldn't order the Knights of the Vale to oust Sansa.
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so either. That would be kind of like violation of guest right. There would be a whole bunch of different. I don't think Littlefinger's got that kind of mojo. Worst he could do is withdraw his support. So do you believe that with Jon out of Winterfell, that Littlefinger can get inside her ear and like start, even though she's resisting and she sees it coming, he's so fucking good at twisting people's skulls that he'll have a shot at that?
I really don't think so.
I don't either.
The way that Sansa's been acting toward him, I think there is a thick wall there.
Yeah, I'm not
he's not
saying
getting
I
through.
would. I'm not saying I would reject that as a storytelling device, but I would be disgusted by it
Yeah.
because how
But I mean,
naive do you need to be to trust anything that Littlefinger says?
For sure. I don't think she's that naive anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking for Littlefinger's pivot because I know he's going to try something.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get his hooks in Jon.
But
it didn't work.
So do you think he's got one last bang in his tank?
I think so. He's going to try something. It's not going to work, and he's going to die.
Okay, that's okay. Him trying something, but I don't even think it's going to get to like it's a Rube Goldberg contraction or contraption, and the first domino like doesn't hit the next one. Right. It like just fails at a very elemental level, and John's Kingsguard surrounds him, and it's off with his head. Like I don't think he's going to do anything like poison someone significant, and of course watch me eat my words, but
could be.
I feel like he's out of gas. He's coasted as far as he can get, and now he's when Cersei gave him the lecture the lecture about power, like what real power is.
Yeah.
I think he's about to find out the difference between soft and hard power.
Right. The thing that I'm really excited for that they set up in this episode is the Siege of King's Landing. Because that battle is going to be fucking awesome.
Right.
And with Qyburn working on ballistas.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's got a good shot at taking out a dragon.
Right. And I mentioned in the spoiler podcast that because people are asking me like, how do you kill dragons, and I mentioned that like that scorpion or ballista is a historically canon way that you can kill dragons.
Yeah.
Dragons on dragons, best way. But
Right.
If you got those big old dragon spears that can pierce dragon skulls, that's probably second best.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. What about Sam's radical rejuvenation, his upper dermal abrasion technique for curing grayscale?
All of Sam's scenes are so fucking disgusting this season.
They really
and
are.
They're doing the same thing this episode where they cut between the oozing wound and the food, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm so glad this doesn't air during dinner time.
Dude,
because
yeah.
I couldn't eat.
Fuck that transition from the pus to the pie.
It was so gross.
I was a couple hours after dinner time, but it was about to come up because that was out of nowhere.
I was
and
like,
so
what is he digging out of his chest? Oh, it's a pie. Okay.
Oh yeah, dragon or grayscale pie.
So clearly this is gonna work, right?
It's
Like,
gonna work, but
he's gonna cure it.
But to what end?
Yeah.
Like we talked about possibilities, like that would enable him to safely travel to Old Valyria to get some kind of Old Valyrian bullshit. But I thought that theory died when like Dany took control of her dragons. There's all kinds of theories of how she'll learn secrets of dragon training. She'll learn find some magical item, but like she's got control of her dragons.
Yeah, she does. I just think maybe he'll help Sam out.
Someone said that there was a suggestion on one of the I forget which blog I read it on, but they were saying that it could open up the door to go to Old Valyria and cure all those stone men, and you'd have this new army that would fight, I guess, because they would all decide to fight for you, or maybe they're all still I don't know, like that. There's problems with that theory.
Yeah, I don't know what curing it means necessarily.
Right.
Does it mean stopping the progression of it? Because if that's the case, the Valyrian army probably wouldn't be of any use to you because
you're
they're
already
all
mindless.
insane. Yeah.
I mean, they'd just be shock troops, but is that ethical?
I mean, what do you do? Drop them?
Yeah, just use them like walkers in The Walking Dead. You just bust truckfuls of them and unleash them inside the gates of your enemies. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems crazy to me. There's one other thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm
how about the dragon bones under King's Landing? That was cool.
Yeah, Balerion
like
the
seeing
Dread. That was. I think I remember.
Seen those.
Yeah, Arya was hiding amongst
Yeah.
them when she overheard Varys and Illyrio discussing stuff in the sub basements in season 1.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we saw the big bullet because I felt like it wasn't that big and impressive.
No.
That's
no.
actually a little bit seems like it's twice as big as Drogon right now.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly impressed by those. It looked really cool.
Yeah. I'm curious if it's possible to kill that big of a dragon with the Ballistica.
Yeah, because you got to imagine there's some, rot on those bones.
Yeah.
Those aren't like living dragon bones.
Yeah.
Might be a little tougher.
Yeah. They're brittle.
Yeah.
They've lost their resilience. Plus, they're not covered in plate dragon scale. I mean, that's the other thing.
Yeah. So some thick hide.
Right. Yeah. What? I mean, so that's the thing. But I guess I was getting to the point that like it's clear, surely that Jorah and this whole experiment must be important to the plot in a big way because you're using a lot of valuable time and storytelling to express all this.
Sam scenes are some of the slowest that this episode was. Not in a bad way, just like
I
settled
enjoy
into
him,
that scene, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, you're right. He must factor in somewhere big, other than just, hey, there's a mine of dragon glass under Dragonstone.
So there's one other question I want to debate with you. Maybe not like take it all the way to the map, but just I want to get your opening arguments for the podcast on Tuesday.
Okay.
Is John like knowing that he doesn't know everything about Dany that we do? Is John smart for going down there himself to meet with Dany in her ancestral stronghold?
No, he's desperate.
Do you think what do you think would be a play that would actually work and be less risky? Because I got in mind a good one.
That's a good question. Maybe I can come up with something for Tuesday's podcast.
Okay. All right. Because my idea was like, why send Sansa? And if Dany gives you the least bit of shit for the disrespect, say, you know, all due respect, Your Grace, but the last two times the King of the North or the Lord Paramount has gone south, he's been betrayed and killed by your dad and by this other fuckface and you know, Bolton and the Freys, and then also your fucking Joffrey Lannister. So it's like I feel like there's no way Dany can say shit to that.
Yeah,
like because unless she's a terrible ruler, and then you're super smart for sending Sansa instead of the king.
Yeah. I'll have to think about that one, because I do think he's making a mistake.
Yeah.
Though I think it's going to play out in his favor.
Right.
Because of what I know about Dany.
That's the thing.
He doesn't know that, and so I think he is actually making a mistake by going there.
Especially since he's just on thin ice with his people, because this is something they all think is stupid, and I just don't think he says only a king can convince her. I mean, the only problem with sending Sansa is that she hasn't seen the Night's King.
Right.
And she hasn't seen the Army of the Dead. John
Send the Night's
has.
King. That king might convince her.
Yeah, bottle him up. But I almost think that even Davos.
Yeah. Davos is a great negotiator.
Like, look, I was the hand. I don't mean any disrespect. He could give the same speech. Like, I was the hand to Stannis, and I served him because I knew this other big thing. You know, was this thing with the Night's King and all that shit. And he could give just as convincing, I think.
Yeah.
And we know that Dany is a reasonable person. So the only problem, I guess, is I felt like Dany overstepped her bounds by asking Jon to bend the knee.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's going to light him up either. I think they're going to talk it out.
I hope so.
I really do.
I hope so, but I feel like
come to the conclusion like Varys and her did that they want the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a negotiation tactic, is like ask for the moon so you can always leave room to compromise. But I felt like it was pretty cheeky that you're suggesting an alliance because you are in a relatively, I mean, you got the 3 dragons, that's a strong position, but you have a relatively weak position for the goal that you want, which is to capture the kingdoms without any bloodshed.
Yeah.
And to be like, yeah, I'll do this and also bend the knee. That was a little strong.
It was.
A little strong. Anything else we want to talk about?
No, I think that's it for the instant
Sir,
take.
did you? I mean, I felt like the Tarleys are going to go for the Lannisters because
I think so.
That was I was thinking from their perspective, that's a pretty good. Even if you hate Cersei, you know, the truth is they are bringing this foreign army and bringing the Mad King's daughter. Putting it like that's probably uncomfortable for a lot of lords in Westeros. So
for sure, yeah.
I felt like it wasn't. You know, that was my question: is like, how are they going to get Randall Tarley, who is a son of a bitch, but he's kind of like Ned-like in his honor and his personal integrity.
Right.
I mean, he's a complete asshole, but he's like, he's got a rigid sense of like, you know, this code, and he actually walks it. And I'm like, how are they going to have him rebel against his lady? But like, I felt like that's a pretty good argument.
Yeah,
it swayed me. All right, we probably almost did too much on this instant take.
Yeah, no, I think it was good. I enjoyed the episode. I'm excited to talk about it in more detail on Tuesday.
Yeah. Had a lot of fun. I hope everybody else did too. I do. The one Something maybe for the spoiler section is if you watch the behind the scenes, Dan and David, the Double D's, make a lot of references to when we were writing, when we were deciding, and like I was just like, oh my god, these guys are freestyling so hard.
Yeah.
They have nothing to go on, and I'm like, and even if you hate what they're doing, like remember, they did not sign up to film shitty George Martin fan fiction.
Right.
They signed up to adapt his works to the screen. This is if anyone's to blame for this going off the rails, it's fucking George at a root level.
Yeah, no, they did a great job of adapting everything.
Yeah, and I am super, like 2 episodes in, I am very pleased and super entertained because I thought this episode really made up for the one criticism of last, which is maybe nothing really happened.
Uh-huh.
So good on them. I'm excited for the podcast this week and to get to next week already.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, we will see you guys on Tuesday for the full podcast. Until then, I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron. Bye-bye.